Mariachis on the mound, piñatas at the plate, lowriders in the parking lot and the outfield? The Minor Leagues Fun Cup has it all, and we have it next on Inside Stitch. I'm AJ Andrews, and welcome to Inside Stitch, where the stretch run refers not only to September baseball, but also to loose threads on high socks. In today's lineup, we'll examine the oldest known Yankees cap in existence, forecast the MLB logos of the future, and celebrate 5950 Day in Atlanta. But like most big leaguers, let's start in the minors. Since 2018, minor league baseball has showcased Hispanic culture and values with the Copa de la Diversión program, also known as the Fun Cup. The league-wide initiative is designed to strengthen the connection between baseball and local Hispanic communities, both on and off the field. And as a bonus, some of the uniforms are en fuego.
The fact is we have more than 30% of players are Latino. And as you think about that, you have to fit it into the culture of baseball.
Copa is a Hispanic fan engagement program born out of the desire to have a region's demographics be reflected at the ballpark.
We decided, first of all, I'm the only Latino majority owner of a minor league baseball team. Why wouldn't I get into Copa? And secondly, it really made a lot of sense because it really goes with the fun of baseball.
We wanted to really celebrate the Spanish community in the Connecticut area, so that's why we came up with Los Chivos.
When the name Mariachis came about, it was just a no-brainer.
With the West Michigan Whitecaps, it's Los Calaveras, just sugar skulls. The best thing is it wasn't a one-time thing. We have really been able to be successful and turn this into a community-wide event year after year.
Obviously, when you're trying to appeal to the Hispanic fan base, it's as broad as humanity itself in terms of things that could be incorporated because there's just so many things that make up a culture.
We try to make it a full experience. It's not just that the players are going to wear different uniforms. That's not what it's about.
It's a full takeover. You know, the Grizzlies are not playing that night. It's the lowriders. For us, that meant bringing in a car show. You know, all the lowriders and have the car clubs come out and participate.
We had Latin dancers that teach salsa and performed at the game. Also, our local Ballet Folklorico organization performed in their traditional costumes.
When it's a Sony Doris game, it's going to be a fiesta. We've had everything from live bands to salsa dancing in the concourse before the game, and also celebrating different countries too. It's not just Mexico or, you know, Dominican Republic, where maybe a lot of our players are from. But I think the one thing that I've always really enjoyed about the Copa program and the Sony Doris nights is the players love it.
Every Latino player really reacts very well. It's great to see their faces. They're smiling, they're happy. It's like being back in Mexico or in their country.
I think the Copa brand has given us the ability to just really branch out and really to experience new things at the ballpark and things that our fans that have been coming to games for years and years weren't used to and had a chance to really experience for the first time.
Just the energy level, people love the merchandise, people love the look of the team and the uniforms, and it's just been a very big success story for us.
It's funny, I never noticed these things until like we're walking around our Copa game. We have a lot more fans in the stands wearing Chivos gear.
It was pretty incredible winning the Copa Award this year, and for us, this was about community development. And so it's not an expectation that, hey, we do these nights and they should come out and watch us play. It's a vehicle for us to go out into the community and really build these relationships with people and community members and, you know, let them know, like, this is the place for you.
It's incumbent upon us to become part of the community. We talk to fans, we talk to staff, we talked to the Albuquerque Hispano Chamber of Commerce, and we sat with them and we said, this is what we're thinking, let's be collaborative in this approach, and it's really been outstanding. I mean, they've been great partners, and the way that this has resonated with the community, it's the reason why that success has been able to be sustained over these number of years.
It should not be about, oh, let's just have a couple games where we try to get people out to the game. It's got to be bigger than that. It's got to be about the community. It's got to be about engagement.
It's very rewarding to see people react, even when they're not Latin. Whether it's because they grab a margarita and they're drinking that, or whether they're able to say a word or two in Spanish and they've never done it before in their lives. It is very rewarding to see that people react to different cultural aspects of the Latino culture. But perhaps even more satisfying is to see that they seem to be happy.
These are some of my camisetas de baseball favoritas. And if you like them as much as I do, scan the QR code on the screen to shop the Copa collection. The Copa de la Diversión isn't the only instance where minor league teams have fun with their names and designs. In fact, it's practically a league-wide mandate and the subject of our latest laundry list, the most unforgettable logos in minor league baseball. At number 6, a big, bold capital letter is the centerpiece of many baseball logos, just as it was for the Chattanooga Lookouts for more than a century. But in 1991, the AA team named for a nearby Lookout Mountain had a vision. By adding a cartoonish pair of peepers inside the seat, they wrote a brand new prescription for one of the most unique designs the game has ever seen.
And gone. It just kept going.
At number 5, raise your hand if you didn't know that Binghamton, New York is the carousel capital of the world. Or better yet, raise both hands and lean into the stirrups of a merry-go-round rumble pony. Just as this AA team did in 2016 when they traded in the Mets name for one that's unmistakably all their own.
Swung on a miss. Ball game over. Rumble Ponies sweep the 6-game series.
The Rumble Ponies are the second Mets affiliate to be named after an amusement park ride. The Brooklyn Cyclones started the trend in 2001. At number 4, Kannapolis, North Carolina is home to the White Sox single-A affiliate, the Cannonballers, whose logo features a helmeted, goggled, mustache human cannonballer in flight.
And that's all she wrote. Ballers win, baby. Ballers win.
Created by an artist who produces work for race cars, the design's push broom stash also calls to mind the facial force of 3-time MLB Manager of the Year, Jim Leland, who just happens to be the father of Pat, the Cannonballers' current bearded skipper. At number 3, only in minor league baseball could a rock cat transform into a yard goat. But that's exactly what happened when the Colorado Rockies AA team moved from one Connecticut city to another. And these yard goats are far from suburban lawn mowing assistants. The name actually honors Hartford's railroad history by referring to a hard-working locomotive that moves trains from track to track.
Going, it is gone. And the yard goats lead it.
How it does that with a baseball bat in its mouth is up for debate. At number 2, when is a panda not a panda? When it's a raccoon. Stick with me here. Huntsville, Alabama is known as Rocket City. Rocket Raccoon, one of the guardians of the galaxy, has been referred to as a trash panda. And when given the opportunity to vote on a team name, minor league fans can always be counted on to make the right choice.
That'll do it. Rocket City a winner.
The Rocket City Trash Pandas sold more than $2 million worth of club merch in just over a year. At number 1, it's tough to beat a classic. Since 1896, the Toledo Mud Hens have played in 6 different leagues as an affiliate of 5 different franchises, while boasting one of the all-time great nicknames and one of the all-time great logos.
Base hit, it's over. The Mud Hens pull it out in 10.
Featuring, what else? A migratory bird with short wings, long legs, and a baseball bat. The Mud Hens logo is a true American original. Here's MILB.com reporter Benjamin Hill with more.
You know, people think that weird minor league team names and logos are a new phenomenon. That name goes back to the 19th century when the team played near marshland and there were mud hens about. And so for it to endure 125 years later, to be recognizable all throughout the country as the Toledo Mud Hens, Toledo fans take a lot of pride in that. They love their Mud Hens, and that's what makes it unforgettable, enduring over 100 years of Mud Hens baseball.
You've probably seen his work on everything from TV shows and album covers to the bodies of your favorite musicians and celebrities. Now, the legendary street artist known as Mr. Cartoon has partnered with the Los Angeles Dodgers to celebrate art, culture, and community through fashion. Here's more.
The city of Los Angeles influences my art through classic soul music, the custom car scene, classic lowriders. Paint jobs from Southern California are some of the craziest in the world. All that intertwines through my artwork. It's an honor to design for the Dodgers. You know, I grew up here and born and raised here. Dodgers were everything, you know. It's almost gone beyond sports, even into fashion. People wear LA caps all over the world. To do these number shirts, you know, I wanted to keep it seen but not noticed, being that those that know what they're looking at are gonna tell a graffiti artist or a tattooer designed those letters. With these designs, I wanted to bring out the old English letter font, but add a twist to it instead of the standard one. This is one I've developed over the years and used on a lot of tattoos. Also with the numbers, you know, you could tell a sign painter or a lettering person by their numbers. That reveals a lot about them. You know, to be able to do one of these shirts with, you know, such a great player like this, it's surreal. Over the years, I've designed apparel, and I fell in love with the merchandising end of it, where designing shoes or designing merch that people can get and that's collectible. And with this project, I'm having to do legible, clean sports letters. I don't want to go too crazy and I don't want to be too simple. I want to hit it right in the middle, try to encompass everyone. It blows my mind just seeing the general fans rocking it. You know, I'm one of them. People may be seeing a little bit of themselves, you know, when I'm up there. I'm just Pops, you know, I have 4 kids, and this is for all the other families out there. And for all the single youngsters, too. They can wear it. We won't discriminate.
The Dodgers logo has certainly stood the test of time. Here at Inside Stitch, we keep a very close eye on clubs that change their logos, even subtly, from one season to the next. But just how much might they modify over the next millennium? MLB.com's Michael Clare gazes into his crystal baseball to predict the major league designs of the future.
Imagine it. 1,000 years goes by in the blink of an eye. It's now the year 3023. The robot wars have been fought on Earth and in space. The waters have risen on the coasts, and monsters now roam the planet. Humankind has taken to the stars. And baseball? Oh, you better believe baseball's still being played. Of course, just as teams tend to refresh their logos every few seasons, there's gonna be a few differences to be found after 1,000 years. Designer Tom Forget and I sat down and imagined what this wild, dystopian, sci-fi future might look like, doing our best to stay at least somewhat recognizable to today's logos. So without further ado, snap on your time goggles and prepare to zoom 1,000 years into the future. The D-backs are still the D-backs, though now they're represented by a robotic techno-snake. The Braves changed their name to the Hammers for Hank Aaron, taking on Thor's Mjolnir as they play their games while soaring the Rainbow Bridge. The Orioles just got cool. The Red Sox are now the Red Moon Boots, and the Cubs have embraced their future amongst the stars, now being represented by Ursa Major, the Great Bear. Mr. Redlegs floats in space, spreading his mustache throughout the cosmos. Cleveland's Guardian is a full-on transmorphing robot. And know how the Rockies found dinosaur bones under Coors Field during construction? Now they play in a literal Jurassic ballpark. The White Sox took inspiration from THX, while the Tigers have gone with a retro logo complete with laser eyes, because everything is improved with laser eyes. The Houston Astros, Team Space City themselves, now play in a floating 8-shaped satellite dome that soars through the heavens. While the Royals travel from city to city in their custom-crowned rocket ship, the Angels have literal steel-winged angels in the outfield. And Dodgers fans must now dodge floating space trash. In Miami, a race of evolved Lovecraftian fish people now call the city home. And Milwaukee brews a magical, calorie-free elixir that tastes like beer but is actually good for you. Minneapolis was the first to establish relations with our extraterrestrial friends, making sure to include that in their logo, while the Mets have reverted to the Mercury Mets. Why screw with perfection? The A's elephant now lives on the moon and swings a lightsaber. Be sure to give him plenty of room. While the Phillies call the outer rim of a black hole their home, goes without saying they have tremendous home field advantage. The space pirates soar through the galaxy, handing out literal nuclear fusion-powered Stargel stars to team leaders. And the Padres' swinging friar is now represented by the race of octopus men who live and surf nearby. The Mariners are true submariners now, playing in an underwater domed city, while the Giants have made peace with the kaiju who call the Bay Area their home. The Cardinals are now robo-birds on a robo-bat. The Rays are the cosmic rays flying through space in their devil ray-shaped spacecraft. Confusing, I know. Texas always goes big, so the Rangers laid claim to all of Mars. The Blue Jays fly among the stars, and the Nationals still play in the nation's capital. Only now, that capital is a floating space station high above the Earth. As for the one missing team, well, that's simple. The New York Yankees ain't changing their logo. That's the one thing we probably can accurately predict. Why mess with the most iconic logo in all of the universe?
I'm so impressed with Inside Stitch that I've given it my full endorsement. When you watch it, you'll know why.
Well, thank you very much indeed, Mr. Fred McGriff, one of the newest members of the Baseball Hall of Fame. And speaking of Cooperstown, that's where we're heading for our next segment. Here's a look at a one-of-a-kind Yankees cap with a story or two to tell, courtesy of Cooperstown Couture.
This is the earliest known Yankees baseball cap in existence. Of course, you can tell it's a Yankees cap because it's got the very famous NY logo on the front. It was worn in 1912, but that's just 3 years after that famous logo was introduced. It looks a little bit different than Yankee caps today. The blue is a little bit lighter. The lavender of the NY wasn't originally lavender. That's just faded from a blue that would originally be this color blue. And of course, they're wearing a white crown with a blue bill, which is very unfamiliar today, but it's recognizable because of that very famous Yankee logo. But the story behind this cap is really quite interesting. It was donated to us in 1990 by a former ball player named Bill Otis, who was 100 years old when he donated it to us. He played for the Yankees in 1912 for just 4 games. That's the entirety of his big league career. The first 2 games were a doubleheader played July 4th, 1912 against the Washington Senators in Washington, D.C., and the Yankees lost both games of that doubleheader. Then the next day, they played again, and the Yankees lost again. But the good news for Bill Otis was that he got a hit off of the great Walter Johnson, the only hit of his big league career. The next day, they played the 4th game of the series, and they played that in New York. And the Yankees lost again. So that's kind of a neat cap because it tells a story of a very early baseball cap and of a guy who just had a cup of coffee in the big leagues, just 4 short games. But there's actually a hidden story literally inside this cap. If we were to take this cap off and turn it upside down and look underneath the sweatband, there's another name written in the cap besides Bill Otis. And that name is Dolan. So who's Dolan? Dolan is a guy named Cozy Dolan, who was the starting third baseman for the Yankees at the beginning of that season. But by the end of May, he had lost his job. He was batting only .200. And in 18 games, he had already made 13 errors. So they said goodbye to him and sold him to Rochester. Now, what you need to know is back in those days, when you got your first paycheck, you'd notice it was docked a deposit on your uniforms. Of course, if you returned the uniform when you were done, the year was over, or when you were traded, or in this case, sold, you could return your uniform and you get that money back. And that's what Cozy Dolan did. And a little bit over a month later, that's when they brought up Bill Otis. And Bill Otis and Cozy Dolan were about the same size, and so they said, this cap should fit you, and that's the cap that Bill Otis wore. But there's one more great story that comes out of this cap. Remember, Cozy Dolan was a starting third baseman for the Yankees at the beginning of the 1912 season. Well, their first 5 games were at home, and then they played their first road game at Boston's Fenway Park on April 20, 1912. That was the very first game ever played at Fenway Park. Cozy Dolan was a starting third baseman, and in that game, he actually made 2 errors. The last one in the bottom of the 11th that let the winning run get on base and eventually score. So this very cap is the one that was there at Fenway Park in that historic game when they opened the ballpark. Sometimes artifacts in the collection at the Hall of Fame can tell multiple stories. In this case, This cap is not only the earliest known Yankees cap, but it was also there on opening day at Fenway Park in 1912, a very important date in Red Sox history.
The trade deadline saw lots of players trade places and uniforms. But who looks the best in their new team's threads? The off-base crew takes a look in this tale of the tape.
What's going on, everyone? It's your girl, Lauren Gardner, LG Red, alongside Chris Young and Xavier Scruggs. You guys know we love to talk about style on this show. So let's get to the latest edition of Tale of the Tape. Today, we're looking at two players that were traded to new teams at the deadline this year. Josh Bell, who went from the Guardians to the Marlins, and Tommy Pham, who got traded from the Mets to the Diamondbacks. Which player looks best in their new drip?
Ooh, I like this. I like Tommy Pham because I played with Tommy Pham, and I also know how he's changed to different teams. I feel like the Diamondbacks jersey is one of those ones that can fit well on a lot of different people because it has some different options with some different colors. You can go with the purple with the pinstripe. You can go the desert with the turquoise and black and the red, of course. So I think T. Pham now, who has switched over from the Mets over to the Diamondbacks, is looking pretty good in that Diamondbacks uniform right now. And he's flying around those bases, too, still doing the same thing.
A lot of power around those bases. It's the no sleeves with the D-backs unis.
Yeah, those are the jerseys that I came into the league in. That purple and teal. But I'm going with Josh Bell. Josh Bell, it's just something about that Guardians jersey that just wasn't fitting him quite right. and I've worn some jersey that didn't fit me right either. And I'm feeling like the change for him, being able to take that Guardians jersey off, put that Marlins jersey on, it really ignited him. He loved the colors. He liked the old school teal that the Marlins had. That really took me back to the days, you know, back when I was playing. So seeing that Marlins jersey, the alternate jerseys that they bring out there, they're always great to watch, great colors, and Josh Bell is loving those fits way better than the past fit.
Change of scenery, change of unis.
Change of swag.
All you need. Change of swag and change of numbers on the back of your baseball card. Thank you so much for watching another edition of Tale of the Tape. For the Off-Base crew, I'm LG Red. See you next time.
The new era 5950 is the official on-field cap of Major League Baseball. And each year, MLB celebrates 5950 Day. This season, we headed to the store Threads in Atlanta across the street from Truist Park to check out the festivities.
We're so excited to have everybody come out. This is a big night for us. We're launching MLB Life, which is the culture and lifestyle brand for MLB.
Bring that fashion, the trending styles to baseball. Why do you think that is so important to make sure that it's really engulfed in the sport of baseball?
Well, I think one thing about sports is universal language. So you align that with fashion, which is also a universal language. It's the perfect marriage.
When you go to games now, you want to make a statement, and you want to have that hat that everybody might not have. You want to have something that kind of shows homage to how much of a fan you are.
5950 is baseball.
Yep.
So baseball has completely influenced culture, and it's such a essential in everything. Everybody wears baseball caps.
So many of the favorite hip-hop artists and rappers are rocking the New York 5950 hat. Why do you think that that is such a fashion statement?
Just because it's just how they took it. Like, they wanted to make it their own thing, and that's what you can do with the 5950 hat.
MLB has done a great job with branding it, you know what I'm saying? Like, mix and match with your drip, but still represent your city, represent your town. You can have the fit, and you can be like, something missing.
Yeah.
Something missing. Oh, I need that Braves hat, like,
If you're from Atlanta, you got to wear a ball cap.
You know, if you don't have a baseball cap, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
What are you doing?
You keep the streetwear aspect, but also get to rock your favorite team. I had so much fun here at Threads for 5950 Day, where I was able to shop and meet so many influential people here in Atlanta to really bring together fashion, culture, authenticity with Major League Baseball. I always love visiting the ATL. You can cop the official cap of Major League Baseball by scanning the QR code on the screen now. I'm AJ Andrews. Thanks for watching Inside Stitch. But before we put a cap on this episode, here's today's life lesson. When tempers flare, always try to keep your head and your hat about you.
Stallowire still wants somebody. There's Randy Johnson, the big unit.
He towers over everybody. Randy's got to change his cap.
Oh, jeez. There you go. That looks better. Get that D-backs hat on, Randy.